We were talking about how great Forrest Gump were just before we dropped in. What a great movie, right, Paul?
Oh, amazing, amazing movie. Touched everything. You know, it touched all of the aspects of human feelings. You know, you had your emotion, you had your laughter. You know, he wasn't totally right in the head, supposedly, you know, so he was a little slow. But man, what a great movie. You know, how he saved all those guys, you know,
Yeah.
and they all made fun of him. And, you know, it just, you couldn't get away with a movie like that. And
No.
also now, I don't think that you could get away with a lot of the comedians.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, Chappelle's going to go through. No, that's why I love Chappelle and Bill Burr. They do what they're outlaws that do what they want to do. But
Yep.
do you remember if Forrest Gump was a common experience? It was great when like even an album growing up was a common experience. Everybody got a new Van Halen album. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. And you know what? I think music was better without the music MTV, because
really,
people wanted to go see the bands.
that's true. The
And then all of
mystery
a
was there.
sudden
Yeah.
they saw them on MTV, and it was it wasn't anything you expected the band to be like unless they were performing live.
Yeah, it was a lot of mystery. Yeah. What were
Yeah.
you seeing in high school? What concerts were you going to? What was doing it for you?
Well, actually, when I went to we moved out to California when I was about 14.
From Ohio?
And I'm 68 now, so we're looking at probably 67 and 68. Okay. So I was in the movement of, you know, the Doors were playing down on, you know, at the Whiskey, Hendrix. All those people were hanging out down there. And
did you see any of that?
A little bit. Yep. A little bit of it. Yep. I got to experience a little bit of that. I went and saw, I think it was at the Palladium. I saw the headliner there was Slade. And before Slade, warming up was the James Gang without Joe Walsh. Tommy Bolin was playing guitar. Let's see, Brownsville Station was the first band who did Smoking in the Voice.
Wow.
And then you had Leonard Skinner next. God. And I paid $10 to see all four of those bands.
Oh, at the Palladium right there on Sunset. Yep. Oh my, what did it feel like inside? Was smoke inside? Just
you know, I mean, everybody was smoking everything, you know. I mean, smoking cigarettes, smoking pot, whatever. Yeah. But it was a great concert. I mean, and I paid $10. Think about that. And then, you know, I mean, in the 70s, I saw Zeppelin at the Forum. Bad Company, warm up for Humble Pie.
Oh my God. And what's it like then? You see those bands at the Forum, which is just so legendary. Like you and I grew up in Jersey, so you dream of California. You know, you have a vision of California when you're sitting in the fucking snow. Like my vision of California was Three's a Company. And you know what I mean?
Right. Mine was the Mamas and Papas. Actually, when we moved to California, what's his name was singing "If You're Going to San Francisco."
Scott McKenzie. Yeah.
And John Phillips had written that from the Mamas and Papas. California Dreamin', Monday. Those were all the songs that were hits when I moved to California. And Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I started playing in clubs at 16.
Wow. And California?
In California, yeah, Glendale, California, to be exact. And my mom's parents lived there, so my parents had split up. And my mom had just been in California, came home. Me and my dad and my brother were hanging out, and my dad was having too much of a good time.
Right.
So my mom and him, you know, after 16 years, decided to split up. And her parents lived in California, and I didn't actually want to go because I had a band and everything, and all my friends, you know, I went to school with. So we packed up and went, and I'm grateful that that happened.
Yeah.
Who knows where I would be in my life if I would have stayed in Lima, Ohio, where they build tanks.
Yeah.
And but who knows? I might have ventured out there in my teens, but I probably would have made it to Woodstock because it would have been closer.
Right.
But
You talk
I'm
about
grateful that we moved out to California, and my mom started working as a waitress, and I was going to junior high, and then started working in bars, and had to end up going to like a continuation school so I could work at my own kind of at my own pace, because I was working till 2 a.m. in the morning in
yeah.
bars. So it was fun. It was a quick learning experience how adults, the
Yeah.
whole adult game was going on, and how they picked up chicks, and
Yeah.
that whole scene. But
So
I'm grateful that that all happened.
so you saw Zeppelin at the Forum, and then you end up playing the Forum. You opened for Dio at the Forum.
Well, what's really interesting, I made a wish when I saw Zeppelin. I saw him a couple times at the Forum, and I kind of made a wish that, wow, someday I really want to play here, and I'd really like to get signed to Warner Brothers. I don't know why I wanted to get signed to Warner Brothers, but I think there was a lot of bands, and actually Atlantic would have been a better record label to get signed, because they had Zeppelin. They had all like a lot of roster of rock people. And when we got signed to Warner Brothers, and Ted Templeman signed Rough Cutt, and we had to wait a year looking for a producer, and we ended up with Tom Allen, who had did Priest, Crocus, and early Def Leppard before they had
and all mean albums. That Crocus is underrated, man. That was mean.
That was a great record.
Yeah.
And Storace, great singer. In fact, I have a funny story about that. We were on the road when Rough Cutt finished their first album, and our first tour was with Crocus and Accept before
Oh
we
my
went out
God,
with
that's
Dio.
pretty heavy. That's pretty fucking heavy. And which Crocus album? Do you remember which one? Was it One Vice at a Time?
Screaming in the Night.
Okay, Screaming in the Night.
It was that album, and Balls to the Wall.
Yeah.
Accept. And we were the first ones going on, and then it was Accept, and then Crocus, and Accept was just blowing doors on everybody. They just were. I mean, the material, it was just,
because they were almost like two bands deep. Yeah, they were almost like two different bands, because they had that Fast as a Shark era, and then they reinvented themselves as a palatable MTV band that was just thick, from fast to thick. So they had a lot to choose from.
And what was really interesting is that we went out later with Accept, but Rough Cutt wasn't even getting a line check. And it just so happened that Spinal Tap had come out at that time, and I was in that movie. As Duke Fame. And how I got the part was I just showed up dressed for the part. And
your day-to-day wear, right? Your day-to-day clothes?
Well, actually, no, it was what I wore at they came and saw us at the Troubadour, and it was all my white leather that I wore at the show. So I just showed up at the casting call dressed that way, and they said, well, we don't even need to dress him. We've got Duke Fame here with the white leather and the black boots, and Jakey Lee and Dave Alford were also called to the casting call, but I showed up first, so I ended up getting the getting the part. And so here we're on the road, we can't get a line check, and they're showing that in all the Howard Johnsons and Holiday Inns, and the band's got the video on the bus,
Yeah.
And so just so happened the road manager had swung by our dressing room to see if everything was okay.
The
And we,
Accept road manager?
actually Crocus's,
Okay, okay.
and because they were headlining. And so he goes, "Are you Duke Fame?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Duke Fame." And he said, "Well, the guys in Crocus really like to meet you." And I said, "Are you kidding?" And they go, "No, I'm just nobody, you know." And I go down there and they got me signing autographs, Duke
Holy
Fame.
shit.
So we ended up getting a line check, you
Oh
know,
my God.
so it paid off. And another time that it came in handy was I got to meet the guys in REO. They were on the same flight as Ronnie and Wendy Dio, and the Dios had their own limo uh, service in
Yeah.
cars. So, and it said Nietzsche uh, on the license plates, Nietzsche 1, Nietzsche 2, and Nietzsche in Japanese, it's the name of their management company, but it meant rainbow.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'm getting out of a limo. REO is getting into a shuttle.
Okay.
And the road manager walks up to me and says, the band would like, "You are Duke Fame, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm Duke Fame." And they said, "Well, they would really like to meet you." And I said, "Well, I'd love to."
Oh man.
And I mean, I know Dave Amato for 20 some years, but he wasn't the guitar player at the time. So anyways, I got to meet Kevin Cronin and all the guys in the band. And they go, "Here, look it. We see you getting into the limo. Are you playing the Normo Dome?" And I said, "No, we're not playing the Normo Dome. I'm actually here to help the Dios get their luggage." And they
Oh my.
went, "Yeah, sure you are." And but I really was, But that was a funny moment. Then I actually got to meet Kevin again and some of the guys from REO at backstage at a Carrot Top show, because he uses a lot of their material
Okay.
in his show, and they were there to see the show, and we were hanging out, and I brought up that moment, and they were laughing about it.
Oh, it's
I've
so
also
good.
met quite a few people at Carrot Top. I met Benny Paul there, and we
Oh
became
wow.
best friends.
Wow.
And he was a big fan of Rough Cutt, and I was a big fan of him and Dimebag Daryl. And but we have one thing in common: we both lost our younger brothers at a young age, so we
Oh, I'm
connected.
sorry.
We
Yeah.
connected really right off the bat, and also met Sir Roger Taylor there,
Oh
which
wow.
we had some really great stories to talk about, Carmine apiece. And I'm in the process of recording a third record with King Cobra.
And Carmen's in the band, right?
Yeah,
Carmen.
Carmine's in the band. Yeah,
Carmine. I
yeah.
saw him on the Nugent Bound and Gag tour, and I didn't understand why there was a whole merch booth for the drummer till later in life. But I also saw him on the Bark at the Moon tour. That guy's just a titan, right?
Oh, he is. He's something else.
Total
I
rock
love him
god
to
too,
death.
right?
You know what? He's kind of he's from the old school.
He's a
He takes
wild
out his
man. He's a
own
wild
merch.
man. I love it. You got to be a wild man to play drums like that.
Oh, he's one of the most amazing drummers I've ever been honored to play with. He and his brother as well.
Yeah.
Vinny, I did a couple songs with them on their album, a Drum Wars. I think that's the name of their album, and I did a couple songs on there. And we wrote a song called "Monsters and Heroes" for Ronnie. It was a King Cobra song, but it never made the record, and they wanted to use it on their Drum Wars or whatever the name of that album was.
Yeah.
And we did a video of Monsters and Heroes. And then I've been working with Just Leave It. I'm on doing an interview, folks. Okay, Tricks. So anyways, I've been working with Tracy G doing a blues record, kind of like Led Zeppelin meets Gary Moore. I'm
Okay.
kind of just seeing who's at the door
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And no, it's just FedEx. They left something at the door. So anyways, we're doing a record together, me and Tracy G. And
Okay.
we just released a Rough Cutt album.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Rough Cutt 3. It's so fucking good. It's so thick. We've been playing it on the show. Dive. The song Dive's my jam.
I like it a lot. I really, it was a freak thing how it all came about. I'm going to go back in the studio.
Yeah. We're hanging.
But anyways, yeah, I've been working with Tracy for about 1.5 years now.
Okay.
And he sent me some stuff. We're going to release this soon.
Okay.
And I've got a little bit. Oh, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm still here. There you go.
There we
You're
are.
back. There you
And yeah, I got it. This lady made this thing behind me, as you can see.
The rock vault.
It's rock vault with Howard Leese, and there's me and Robin, my wife. And then right over here, I've got Led Zeppelin above the studio.
I love that
here.
Zeppelin picture. That's by the plane, right? It looks like
yes. And now some lady up the street here, we have a swap meet, and we bought that painting, and then the lady did another one, and it's of the Stones. So I have that in the bedroom. But this go back to where I was. I've been working with Tracy, and Tracy and me have come up with some really amazing things. Benny, see, I gotta get this right. It's Carmine and Peace and Benny Appice.
Okay.
He cut a track on there because him and Tracy played together in Dio.
Right.
So anyways, we've been working on a record, and we're going to release it soon.
Awesome.
And I'm doing this King Cobra record, but the Rough Cutt record came out of the blue. And how that happened was Matt had called me, and we've been recording stuff back in 2017. Right. And I had went to Japan to do a record, or I went to Japan after 27 years and did a question and answer thing. Okay. And they put a band together, and I performed stuff from Rough Cutt, Quiet Riot, King Cobra, Shortino and Northrop, some of the stuff Back on Track, and also It's About Time, some solo records. So it was kind of neat to be able to go to Japan and play songs that I have collectively done through the years.
Right. Yeah.
Without just doing Rough Cutt songs.
Yeah.
Quiet Riot or Quiet Riot and Rough Cutt. And it was great because they had put together such an amazing band. Well, one of the guitar players, Nozomu Waki, we wanted to do a record together. So we released a record last year, April 24th, and did a remake of Send in the Clowns, which is on YouTube. The album was called Make a Wish. There's probably about 4 videos on there. Okay. Some of the guest appearance on the record are Doug Aldrich, Jay Shellen, Phil Susan, Peter Baltz from Accept.
Yeah.
Let's see, Marco Mendoza played on Send in the Clowns, and Vinnie Paul played drums. Because we had recorded Send in the Clowns probably 12 or 13 years ago. Okay. And so then we were going to do something for Carrot Top on this, me and Vinnie. And so Ira Black came up with a great arrangement of it. We re-recorded it. Marco Mendoza played bass on it. And there's a video on YouTube. If you go to Send in the Clowns, Paul Shortino.
Check it out. I'll put a link to it.
Yeah. And then there's Make a Wish is a song on there. And the people who did the video, a guy named Gary Arona and he has done stuff for HBO and Cinemax and stuff like that. And his wife is Tabitha Stevens, who is she's in the Hall of Fame of pornography.
Okay.
And she's the sweetest person, but she's in the video.
Okay.
She plays a female clown. And then I had the lighting guy that does all of the Cirque Soleil did the lighting, and we also did the video at Danny Coker's Desert Moon Production Studios. Okay. And so it's almost got a Cirque Soleil vibe to the videos.
So the area you're in is influencing you're there. That's pretty cool. It's like, I love when an area influences your music.
You would never think that these videos are off the hook. I mean, as far as the quality, I never expected. And then we did some other videos, just me and the guitar player out in the desert. We did one down in Fremont Street, but it was too dark. Okay. And that song was, there's some great songs on there. And that song was, what is it? Rise up and be strong in a crazy world. Some of the material kind of fit what happened after, after the record was released with the Corona issue or COVID or whatever they want to call it, virus and the shutdown. So that album kind of went away, unfortunately. Okay. It's a shame because it's some really good stuff on there.
Well, I'll play it on the show. Definitely.
And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, like I said, I was playing some of the Rough Cutt songs in 2017 because I had went back to Japan after I did the question and answer thing in Nagoya. It was a theater of about 7,000 people.
Right.
It was first time I had been back to Japan in 27 years. With last time it was with Quiet Riot, and we did a concert with James Brown headlining.
Wow.
Dio was on the bill. Irene Cara from Fame. Chester Thompson, playing with George Duke. I mean, it was quite an array of genre of music, So I hadn't been back in that many years, and so when I went back, then they asked me to come back, and I went back and did a tour with the band that they had put together, and then they asked me to come back again. And the last show that we did in Tokyo was like the old days in the 80s, where you had publishers and record labels and hey, Paul, do you want to do another record? And so I did a record, and we released it, but Nozumu produced it, and we had such a great cast of people playing on this. In fact, the drummer from Loudness played on the album.
Oh my God! Wow!
So we had all of these great players on this Make-A-Wish record. And the videos are off the hook. And so then I get a call from Matt and Amir, and they said, well, what was happening is Dave and Chris were calling me to reform Rough Cutt. And we had made an agreement among all of us never to really do that unless we did it with the original members.
Right.
So I said, how about if we put together a project like Ruff Riot, because they were mentioning, bringing Sean into Rough Cutt, and they had talked to him. And I said, well, if we put together a band, Ruff Riot, it's not Rough Cutt, it's not Quiet Riot, it's members from both bands.
Yeah.
So we did a few shows, we put that band together, and it musically, it was cool to some extent. Everybody wasn't getting along. So I get a call from Chris.
That's weird. A band wasn't getting along. No, this kid.
Yeah, another issue where members aren't getting along. So, anyways, I said, let's just dissolve this. I had put the whole thing together. I came up with the name like Rough Cutt. I came up with that name. I snagged it from a Burt Reynolds movie when Jake had just got in the band, and Dave Alford had just got in the band with Claude Schnell and Joseph Cristofanelli, and that whole lineup had changed through the years. And Claude ended up playing with Dio, and also Joey Cristofanelli went off and started playing with Rat when Juan left the band. So it was really just me and Dave left in the band, and we joined forces with Matt Thor and Chris Hager, who had a band called Sarge, and they lost their singer and drummer. So we joined forces, got Craig Goldie in the band, did a couple shows with Dio at the, I think it was at the Santa Monica Civic, and Greg Giuffria or someone from his band approached Craig Goldie to join Giuffria. So that's how Amir got in the band. And then we went to Europe. About 2 weeks after that, we got signed to Warner Brothers. And that lineup with Amir, myself, Dave, Alfred, Chris Hager, and Matt Thorne was the lineup that got signed to Warner Brothers, was, as far as I'm concerned, Rough Cutt, because that got signed to a major label.
I mean, being in New Jersey, that was the Rough Cutt I saw with the cool album cover with the chick and the airplane. Like, that was my Rough Cutt growing up.
And so I get a call from Dave and Chris that they're not happy with Ruff Riot. So because I did an LLC and put everybody as an equal partner into it, those guys seemed to put me through, not just me, but Carlos just said, screw it. But I had a friend that spent a lot of time coming up with the logo, the artwork here in Las Vegas, a guy named Chris Connick. And I didn't want to give up that name. I figured, I had put all this energy into it, and it was my idea. So here I got Dave and Chris take this whole thing through legal stuff. So for 3 months legally, I'm fighting for just to hold on to the name, whether I do anything with it or not. I feel I'm entitled to it because I spent all this time and asked a friend for favors.
Beyond legal things, you really are the face of it. Let's be honest. You're the face of it. You know what I mean?
And the same thing with Rough Cutt.
You're the face. Let's be honest.
Why we're going, because I got in King Cobra, and King Cobra just sounded like another version of Rough Cutt. Because here we got guitar players playing in harmony. Yeah,
you have a very distinct, thick voice. Yeah, your voice is Paul Shortino's voice.
Yeah. So, anyways, I fought with them over this whole thing, and after 3 months, they agreed to let me have the name Ruff Riot. While they were doing that, they were doing an LLC on Rough Cutt, which I spoke to Wendy Dio about this, and she thought she still owned the name because she originally did. And actually, there's a label out there called Rough Cutt. So I think after, there's certain, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Categories for owning a name.
Right.
If you design clothes and your designer name is Rough Cutt, then there's a Rough Cutt that owns that name.
I noticed the rappers when they always say rappers. They copyright every version of their name, the clothing, the music. Yeah,
exactly. And there are ways to patent that logo and that name, whether it be through clothing or music or whatever, merchandise of any sort. So anyways, I don't know where things stand. I just got a call. I'm in the middle of doing all this stuff, and Matt and Amir, because Amir had been in Orgy, and Jay, the singer of that band, where Amir had shared to me, had wiped out any past of that band. So any members of that band don't exist if you were to go on Orgy's page. So Amir was a little irritated about how that went down, and they went through a bunch of legal process, but there's no mention of Amir and anybody that was in that band.
Oh my! And Amir and Paige were such a big part of Amir and Paige were like faces with Jay of that band. Yeah.
Yep. So so Amir didn't really want this to happen with Rough Cutt, and then things started happening where on Wikipedia they started changing everything. So they asked me if it would be okay to release some of the songs that we wrote collectively. And I would say Matt wrote a lot of it, more so than anyone else. And so I get a call and I said, sure, some label wants to release it, no advance or anything. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? I just kind of want to get the truth out there,
Yeah.
I just thought it was really deceptive how Dave and Chris went about this. And so did everybody else. And now they're thinking that, what a cheap shot it was for us to release this album. That some of the songs were written just before we released it, like Secret and maybe one other one. But
Carlos Cavazos is on it with you guys, right? Just to let people know, Carlos Cavazos is on it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And so's Dave and Chris. There's songs on there that was released on a label, Prowler, Peyote, and House of Pain. Those were released on a label out of Canada, and so we re-released them on this album. So those guys
DDR on DDR Records with Lance, who hooked this up. Thank you, Lance.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, they're getting credit on the songs that we released as well, because anything that they did, we're being very honest about it. However, I didn't get any credit for, even though I didn't do that much, a Bed of Black Roses or Bed of Roses, however they call it.
Yeah.
I came up with some of the melody on it, but you know what? I don't really care. Yeah. It's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of, I think we made it really clear when we sent out, it wasn't me so much as Matt had sent out a letter, and he got my approval and Amir's approval for those guys to go out as Rough Cutt, but as Dave Alford and Chris Hager's Rough Cutt.
Yeah.
And we don't have any problem with them going out as that.
Right.
Because nobody has ever in this band has ever went out as Rough Cutt, even though they say I did. I never released an album. I released an album called Paul Shortino in the Cut with Jimmy Crespo, Sean McNabb, JT Garrett, and John Homan. And I put it out there as Paul Shortino in the Cut. I figured that if I was going to take anything a Rough Cutt, even though I came up with the name, I didn't think it was right. And we had all made a pact that, hey, if we ever go out as Rough Cutt, it's got to be with the original guys. Yeah, we're just not going to do what all the other bands are and just replacing people.
It's like the sound guy is on bass, and yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So that's just something that we had initially made a pact together. So I didn't want to break that pact either. So I think there was one gig that somebody booked us as Rough Cutt, and it wasn't something that we had asked.
Right. Those things happen. Yeah.
The promoter figured, Paul Shortino,
they're going to maximize what they can do. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll book this as Rough Cutt, which was supposed to be just as the cut. So anyways, to where we're at now, I wish them all the best. I don't have any bad feelings towards any of them, even though I hear rumors of things that other people are saying, and like I said, myself, Matt, and Amir, we just want the truth to be out there. And this is the first time in a whole lot of years.
Lost you for a second there.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell my wife I can't. I can't talk right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call her on the phone. My phone. Are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna just call her real quick and just let
Okay.
her know that she's stuck with a car that's overheating.
All right, I'll
Please
pause.
don't-
I'll pause this real quick. I'll pause this.
Oh, thanks. So, anyways, we just wanted to get the truth out to everybody. That,
Along with this great album out, dude. The album is fucking awesome. It's really, it's fucking mean, dude. It's rock.
It's cool. So some cool stuff, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm just I'm grateful that we did something other. It's been 40 years.
How did it feel? How did it feel to be making music with those guys again? I mean, you feel something.
Actually working with Chris or working with Matt,
yeah,
is an absolute pleasure, and Amir is it's just easy as pie. I don't think after what happened with how these guys have the other two gentlemen have handled this. I don't think there'll ever be the original.
Yeah, but what's here is just bitching. I mean, I had Matt on the show. Matt's an awesome dude, a very, very, a really interesting cat, man. Yeah, I didn't know there was that much there. Such a cool dude.
He is, and he's so talented. He went back to learn how to play piano. He's a great engineer, producer. He's done so many things, and I just told him, I love playing with those guys. I wish it would have worked out with Chris and Dave. However, it didn't. I know they just wanted to go out and work again,
Yeah.
And we were having problems getting booked with the original lineup of Rough Cutt. So, we were having to start all over from scratch.
Yeah.
So the pay wasn't all that great.
Right.
And it's like anything. However, with this lineup, it could be with Carlos Cavazo going out.
So, dude, I saw him with Rat a few years ago. He's insanely good. Like, I had no idea. Like, I mean, I know he's great, but Jesus.
Well, we're also probably going to have because we're the only two remaining members of the QR record.
Right.
We're probably going to release bonus tracks on that record.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to re-release that, the two of us.
That's awesome.
And I'm looking forward
That's awesome.
to bringing in another drummer, and Carlos. If it's right, if it feels right, we'll be hitting the road.
Maybe
or doing some festivals. We probably won't be doing clubs and stuff because it's just it's going to take a while for everything to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, I love that. One last question I have to ask. You and hearing aid, dude, that was huge as a kid as well. That was what was that like, and how did that come about that you got that verse? I mean,
Rough Cutt had just finished their album and it was out, and I never ever expected to see all of these people that I was such a big fan of and be a part of in a good part. To be a big part of it, being one of the singers. We had to sing the whole song. So
okay.
It was up to Ronnie to pick who, and same with guitar players. It was up to Ronnie and I guess Angelo, those two in a room, ciphering through the best of what everybody did, which is an amazing task in itself.
Yeah.
Because there were so many long guitar solos. The song isn't short, and we all had to sing it. So for Ronnie to pick out the lines that he felt that were great for each singer was quite a task. And I think he did an amazing job.
Oh, it's so chilling. The song to this day, it holds up. I mean,
In fact, I re-recorded it, and Wendy shared with me there's some tracks on Taker that I'm thinking about, that Ronnie sang on, that we're thinking about putting it on my solo record. But we do have a version of Stars that I'm going to ask some of my friends that weren't on the first Stars to be parley to singing on this. I've asked Ron Keel and Robin McCauley, and
wow.
I'm reaching out to a few other guys
That's cool.
to do a tribute to that.
That's awesome. That's
that version.
awesome. Because it was so, did you know it was going to be what it was going to be when you were walking in that room? It was going to be that large and that historic?
Not at all. Not at all. I was just in awe. In fact, I ran into Jimmy Bain when I first went in. We did all of the vocal backups and all of the basic tracks and the background, big choir choruses and stuff. That was all done at A&M Records.
Right, on La Brea there.
And then all of the single or all of the vocal tracks were done at Rumbo, that was Captain and Tennille's studio. Right. That was in Northridge, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Just huge. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to keep playing the record, Paul. You're a hero. You're a Titan. And I look forward to seeing you guys hitting the road and getting to see the show, man. And once again, thanks, Lance from DDR Music Group, for hooking this up. That was really fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to
love it.
Talk to an old rocker like me. And please, and if anybody wants to keep up with what's going on, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and paulshortino.com. And God bless everybody, and stay safe, and peace, love out.